All right, guys, we're back with Mike from Aries Logistics Studio.
Thank you for coming over, Gabby.
Thank you. And we're here to talk a little bit about the project that he had going, and he's going to elaborate more on it.
Okay.
So you can take it away, Mike.
All right, cool. What's going into the car that's going to be going, it's going to be for Tintan Welding. That's why we're wearing the shirts and everything to pay homage to him. He's a great guy. We're actually going to power it with an FT600. It's a FuelTech FT600. It's a awesome machine. It's their top of the line. It's basically their flagship, and the machine is just incredible. But there's a lot of different things that are going to go on with it. For example, when we talked about that I fabricate some of the stuff, you can buy a fab kit, actually a mount for this that mounts on the steering column. But I'm actually going to build one, and basically what we're going to do, I got some sheet metal. There's going to be some arms on here that are going to come down like this. The plug is going to come out. It's going to be all nice and straight, evenly straight and everything. It's actually going to have a vacuum port in here and a boost port, which is in the back here, and it has a port for the computer for you to be able to program it. But I'm going to remotely mount that so you can have easy access, come up to the car, plug it in, whatnot. So this is one of the little things that, like I said, I do. But once I fab this, I'm going to show it to you guys again so you can see pretty much the way we did it and whatnot. But there's going to be a lot of things going on with cars as far as components. It's all going to be FuelTech, and FuelTech is a tremendous line. And that's basically it for now. Like I said, once we switch over in a few minutes, I'll show you something on the board. Okay, we're here at the board. We're going to give you a basic anatomy of what a system could be and whatnot. Like I said, we're not sure how we're going to go with it, but we know for sure we're going to be running a 600 in his car. The FT600, like I said, it's a top of the line. It's a flagship for FuelTech. They have other ECUs, the 400, the 500. They have a 350. They're all really great products. We're going to run an FT600. We're going to be using a peak and hold box most likely because we're going to use very low impedance injectors. When you get into the billet injectors and the really high-end injectors, usually they're low impedance. And for that, you usually have to get a peak and hold box. There's different ECUs that will run low impedance injectors, but like I said, they may have one thing, they may not have the other. With this unit, we have the best of both worlds, but we would need a peak and hold box to run low impedance injectors. So it's going to be a peak and hold box. We're probably going to use more than one, depending on how many injectors you're going to use. You have to make sure that you choose the right box for the right impedance for the injector. It's very important. You can't just install a box and hope that it works correctly. You can call the manufacturer that you're buying the box from via whether it's FuelTech or someone else. But it's really important. You got to tell them what the onload of the injectors is and whatnot so they can give you the proper box. Okay, that's why it's called the peak and hold box. The spark box, we're still not sure what we're going to use. We may be using MSD. We may be using a Spark Pro from FuelTech, which is an amazing product. It's probably the highest sparking box out there in the industry. But there's a lot of different ways. You want to appropriately use a spark box for what your needs are. If you're not going to be burning a vast amount of fuel or super high compression, you may not need a box with so much spark energy. You can get away with something regular. So like I said, really plan out your build. When you're building something, make sure that you're using the correct spark box for your needs. You may not have to spend the money, or you may look at it and go, wow, you know what, I'm going to be running some super high pressures, and also with a higher sparking box, you can always run it a little bit richer, and that's a safety margin. As far as the coils, you have different types of coils. You have coils, dumb coils, which require a spark box, and then you have smart coils that actually have a built-in amplifier built into them. And this is what a smart coil looks like. It's got a small little amplifier built into it. Okay, and this requires a lot more wiring than a standard coil. These are nice. Some of them work very well. Like I said, it depends on what your spark needs are. We may be going with smart coil. We may be going with a spark box with dump coils. It really depends on what the situation is. We're also going to use an AFR meter just to keep an eye on that when we're tuning and whatnot. But we're going to be using a lot of data logging with this, and this thing is just has so many different data loggings. It can data log ignition, timing, boost. It just does the whole 9 yards. How rich, how lean. It's an incredible unit. But this is basically the anatomy of a system, whether it's going to be for Tim's car or for any other car. And based on this, we're going to break it down with some videos in the future. And we're going to break it down so you can see how it's wired and everything. But we're actually going to go ahead and set it up as far as the wiring and whatnot. We're going to show you the appropriate wiring, the appropriate amperage to use on the components and whatnot. I really want to go ahead and be able to provide you with all that information.
All right, guys. So we're back. Thank you, Mike, very much for having a nice little illustration of what's going to happen along the future with Tim and so forth on the project that's coming. So we're really looking forward to see that.
I appreciate you having me and letting me be able to do this, you know.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate it because I want to get the information out to the people. I really do.
Yeah, this is awesome. Again, Mike, thank you very much.
Thank you, Gabby. I appreciate
This
it.
is really good information, guy, that's coming up. I mean, this guy, he does everything as far as schematics. He can do anything you guys need. If you guys ever need anything in specific, you can also add it on the comments below, and he'll take that into consideration. So once again, thank you again for visiting this performance channel, and pretty soon we'll have everything up and running, and we'll get back to you guys.
Thank you.
Have a nice one.